Anybody here can get it. Treat the game like a scrimmage now. Master B with the flow. I swear nigga got no limits now. I've been ballin' for a minute. Whole team full of winners. Anybody here can get it. You tuned into the realest now. Anybody here can get it. Treat the game like a scrimmage now. Master B with the flow. I swear nigga got no limits now. I've been ballin'
Hey
for
everyone,
a minute.
welcome to Off the
Whole team full of
Platform.
winners.
I'm your host Greg,
Anybody here can get
joined
it.
as always by my mate Jackson. How are you, Jackson?
Good, thanks, mate. Bit shattered. Few kids' birthdays this weekend, but otherwise we're good.
Massive weekend with the kids, awesome.
Yeah.
Our special guest today is the NZPF President, Paul Clarke. How are you, Paul?
I'm good, thank you. Cheers, guys, for having me on.
No worries. Welcome to the podcast. So Paul, before we get started and get into things, let's tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your background? Where did you come from? What was your upbringing like? You know, history of sporting achievements prior to powerlifting.
Background's pretty boring, to be fair. I didn't really do anything too exciting. Grew up in Auckland, in Devonport on the North Shore, and played all the normal sports. I played cricket, rugby, tennis, soccer, water polo, ultimate frisbee. You name it, I tried it out at some point.
You played all the sports, yeah.
Yeah. I always loved sport, and it's always the biggest part of my life was playing sport and enjoying myself with all my mates and all that throughout childhood. And then kicked on, and I started coaching rugby league. I've been doing that for, I think this will be my 12th year of coaching.
You still coaching?
Yeah, we're coaching this year.
Nice.
I coach at Mount Albert Rugby League here in Auckland. Coaching reserve grade this year. So I coached I had boys when they were 13, 14, and now they're 22, and I'm coaching them in reserve grade, so it's quite good.
Wow. And is that a part-time gig or a full-time gig?
That's just, I do it volunteer-wise.
What's a volunteer? Okay. Yeah. What's your day-to-day job? What do you do for a living?
At the moment, I'm pumping concrete. So I get up at stupid hours in the morning and pump concrete for hours on end, and then go home and train and coach and do whatever I need to do.
Yeah, we'll have to go into that in detail, actually, because I'm always interested in people in trades roles, how they can manage to rustle up the energy for powerlifting at the end of the day. So, but in terms of the sport, what's been your favourite?
Rugby league's always my favourite. I grew up with rugby league. My dad played for Auckland, coached Auckland, coached Mount Albert. I grew up at Mount Albert Rugby League Club, following him around, traveling all over the Auckland and even in New Zealand. You're watching him coach teams, and rugby league's always number one for me.
So the blood, was there a certain expectation that you would follow in your dad's footsteps, or that just...
I think the old man liked it. He liked the idea of me playing. I was never particularly great. I played rugby at school because I live on the shore and everyone played rugby. So you play with your mates, right? That's what you do. That's why you're there. You're not there to make the All Blacks at school. You're there to just enjoy yourselves and have fun. When I left school, he took me back to Mount Albert, and we played under 20s a couple of seasons there. Ended up breaking my hand and got offered to coach a team, and I love coaching a lot more than I enjoyed playing. So I just continued that on.
So the old saying, if you can't play it, coach it.
Exactly. I took that to heart, and I ran with it for 12 years now.
Nice. Except Jackson, you're still playing it too, so you're the exception to the rule.
Mate, yeah, sorry, yeah, I try everything.
Yeah.
Just jump in, I try and do everything, but it's all right, it's good fun.
Coach it,
Keeps you busy, isn't it?
Nice.
So being obviously involved in like rugby and rugby league and stuff, were you exposed to lifting at quite a young age then?
No, it's only recently become part of rugby league in terms of like the training. Probably in the last maybe 3 years, we started getting the boys in the gym and showing them that. But most of the time, the kids are so busy with footy that they just have no time for the gym, you know. And even when I at school, I went to the gym there for a couple hours for like a month, and then I'd quit because I was too busy playing 3-4 different sports at the same time, you know. So lifting for me didn't happen until I had left school, and it's probably 7 years ago now, when I got exposed to it. My brother was more into it. He was more into the gym side of things, and I was into the actual playing of the sport. And but he sort of got me into it.
So you're just obviously for listeners who aren't familiar, so your brother is Jason Clarke.
Yeah.
He's probably one of the busiest coaches in the NZPF, arguably. or definitely, or
Yeah, him. There's probably 4 or 5 of them, but he's up there. Yeah, definitely, probably one of the more busy, and he also owns and operates North Shore Barbell, which I train at up here in Birkenhead.
cool. So it's a pretty well equipped gym from what I've seen.
Yeah, it's real good. It took us a few years to sort of build up the gear, and like we sort of created a bit of a team there and got some gear together, and then Joel Latta and then Jason decided to put a gym together, so they got the space and we put all the gear there, and it's perfect for powerlifting. If you don't squat, bench, and deadlifting, you're pretty much screwed. But it's all we do anyway, so it doesn't.
What
really
else
matter.
is there? Yeah,
Exactly.
the 3 staples.
That's
It's
cool.
a good
So
excuse for having no accessories in my training. So
Yeah,
minimal
sorry.
accessories. So.
Yeah, can't do them, so I could just
Yeah.
squat and leave.
Yeah, exactly.
So you guys obviously got quite a good squad down there. Is it very busy, like membership wise and etc.?
I think it could be busier. We've probably, I'm not actually sure what the numbers are because there's a few people that just train during the day that we don't see, but
Yeah.
5 o'clock, 5:30 on a Monday, Friday, Wednesday, you're looking at 15, 20 people sort of hanging around.
Nice.
Probably around that 15 mark. And just, it's a real good team environment. We all train together. We've been training together for years. There's a whole lot of us that have been together for 4 or 5 years now.
You got Alex Orwin. He's there as well, isn't he?
Yeah, Alex is there. He trains at all kinds. He's either early in the morning or late at night, depending on his schedule. Just with his young boy, he decided to sort of not train at the times that we train. So
no, fair enough too. I used to, when I had my kids were really young, I would train when they would go to sleep. So I'd get to the gym at like 7:38, and I'd have to go through to 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. So I definitely feel him for wanting to train around the kids. It's not easy.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to put the priorities change right when you have a kid, and I don't have that priority yet. So smashing out 5 o'clock, I'm ready to go.
Nice. And how did you get started how did you get started in the gym, like working out in general? Was it just, for the girls, for the guns, for the...
It was actually for powerlifting. So,
wow, okay.
Weirdly enough, Jason had sort of started doing training. He was a PT at the local gym, and him and his mate were, we're going to go to this powerlifting event. Never heard of powerlifting, didn't know what the hell it was. I was like, oh, yeah, I'll come along. I'm keen to check it out. It was Oceania's Commonwealths here. It was in Manukau. It was probably 8 o'clock at night or something, and it went on until I think the midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, from what I hear. But we went out there and watched it.
Sounds familiar, right? Do you remember that one, Jackson? Yeah.
That was 2013. Yeah, that was right. December 2013. I was supposed to be doing that.
Oh, you were? Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's a story for another time. That's part of the reason that I left IPF. Let's put it that way.
Fair enough.
That was a big comp. Yeah, that was the first time it had been here for a while.
Yeah. From what I understand, it was a massive. It looked huge. It was an awesome venue, and there were so many lifters. I didn't have a clue what the hell was going on, but it looked pretty good.
And they combined the Oceanias and the Commonwealths together, if that makes sense. So they had everyone lifting Commonwealth-wise, but if you were also from Oceania, so Australia, New Zealand, Cook Islands, etc., you also placed in that competition from the same results. If that makes sense. So you could get like 5th at Commonwealths, but you might be 1st in Oceania.
Okay, so you only lifted once, but
you only lifted once, but it was in the same competition, and the results were placed from
put in the right
both comps. Yeah,
that would have been a massive amount of people. I'm assuming
it was going to be huge. I don't know how many starts they had, but it must have been hundreds.
Yeah. Is that normal, Paul, for an event, a powerlifting event with the IPF to go late into the night?
It happens sometimes. Generally, I think since then it's happened once. 2018 Nationals went. That was just because we had to start a little bit later, and everyone's sort of the first day of the competition at Nationals. Everyone's trying to catch up. They fell behind a bit. We got there at like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night, driven up from Auckland, and expected to see the deadlifts, and we were seeing squats, and we were like, what's going on here?
Squat, wow.
Jason, my brother, jumped in and helped spot and load for a bit, and then we went back to get some sleep. But that doesn't happen anymore. But
I can't say that I remember too much of any late night lifting, but I've refed a comp that went to that ended at 9 o'clock. And I tell you, after, when you're reffing for 12 hours, you're blinking and, whoops, just missed their lift. It takes its toll on everybody. I think, could be really careful about running these really long events.
Yeah, no, we learned, that year, really, that we needed to make sure that, we're running on time. And these days, the competitions run so smoothly.
No, yeah, exactly.
We don't even think about having to delay things these days. It's, 3 hours, pretty much, you're done. That's a session gone. You're ready for the next one. But it just happens sometimes.
Do you guys, would you run, I don't know if I've seen it, to be honest, with anyone, dual platform or a second platform at the same time? Have you seen that happening?
Yeah, we always see it at, World has it and USAPL Nationals. I mean, they got 1,500 lifters, so there's no way you're going to fit that in with one platform.
No, exactly. Yeah.
We're probably not quite at the numbers yet for having to have two platforms. Our nationals was huge at 221 lifters.
Yeah.
But they could fit in.
Massive.
Yeah, and I think having two platforms, that comes with its own problems of needing 5 more spotters, 3 more referees, another jury, score people. There's a whole nother team, which I think that would be the harder part than getting the lifters.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I don't think any event struggles or doesn't struggle really with, finding the right people, time after time after time. It does take its toll on people.
Yeah, it's another 15 helpers on the roster. I've run a few comps. I've never had, 15 spare volunteers just waiting in the wings. Oh, yeah, hang on, mate. We'll give you a call if we need you. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't happen.
I remember events where I've had to call out to the audience with the squat going, can anyone help?
Yeah.
Enough guys. Yeah.
I did one competition. There was only 2 of us spotting and loading. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It was only a small gym one, but even so, you had to. One of the referees had to come and hold the bar down while we changed the plates on the deadlift because the bar kept moving.
Yeah.
Finding volunteers is always hard. So
exactly, yeah.
But now we'll keep it 1. I think it'll be nice and easy.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So going back to your lifting, you saw the Oceanic event and you thought, this is for me?
Yeah, I thought, this looks cool. I think we turned up and one of the guys that No Ruins was pulling 300 kilos at that point in time. And that was a huge deadlift, even now, but back then it's massive. And I just liked the whole atmosphere was awesome and the competition looked like fun. It looked like something I could do, I could turn up the next day and kind of learn what I needed to do. And pretty much that's what happened. I think the Monday I signed up to the gym and started training, and Jason at that point was doing a bit of PT, but he kind of just gave me the basic 5x5 program that everyone's tried at one point, and
100%.
that was history. And then we got ready and competed a year later. So I think I signed up, started in the gym. What was that? August, I think, 2013, and November 2014 we competed for the first time at a novice comp.
You had your first event was in 2014, wasn't it? I'm just looking at the records before. Sorry, the open powerlifting before. So the Auckland 3 lift and bench press novice in November.
Yeah,
some
that was huge.
Pretty impressive numbers. Well done.
Yeah, no, thank you. Doesn't get much better than that, to be fair. It's only gone up a little bit in 7 years, but we trained for that whole year, so we'd kind of got used to it. Got through the newbie games and got to a point where we could kind of compete. Had no idea what we were doing. We turned up, didn't know really what we were kind of in for. Jumped on the scales, weighed in, and kind of stood around, didn't really know what to do. I think we warmed up 3 times. Started squats. Oh, no, you're not for a while. Oh, okay, we'll stop. And then we started warming up again, and one of the flights had changed, so we were pushed back. So we'd stopped again, and third time we were kind of like, I guess we'll just start, and if we have to, we'll just keep going. Yeah. So we didn't know what we were doing, but it was good fun.
So you jumped in there and you opened on a 190 kilo squat and missed it. So that a little bit of nerves, perhaps, eh?
Yeah, I've always had a bit of trouble with depth. It's not really it's definitely my Achilles heel in my squat. And I just squatted a bit too high. I think the nerves were there, and I wasn't probably not wearing the right gear either. You turn up in just normal shorts, kind of a bit harder for the refs to see. And I remember one of them saying, just roll your shorts up so we can see it a little bit better. but yeah, definitely that first squat was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like, it's all these people, I'm listening to this referee. Oh, the panic was there, but
yeah.
from there
It's quite intimidating your first event. I mean, I remember my first event, and it's the first time you're competing in lifting in front of a crowd of people, and you've got 3 people telling you whether or not you did it properly. So it does take a bit. It does take a bit to get used to.
Yeah, but I tell you what, you never look back. Once I did it, I got to know these people that we were lifting with that never met before. Started talking to them and just chatting away. Like, I was lucky I got to do it with my brother, and I got to do it with another mate, Rory, who's not lifting anymore. But that was fun. Just the 3 of us getting ready for it.
Rory.
Finnemore.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe Rory Donovan. I was going to say I knew a Rory Donovan powerlifter. Okay, cool. So you that comp you did that in November, and then straight into April the following year, 2015, in the Auckland Champs, eh?
Yeah. I probably made the stupid mistake of thinking, I'll cut down, I'll drop a weight class.
You did. You lost 10 kilos.
Yeah, so that was I didn't really know what I was doing, to be fair. Kind of just dropped all the weight and thought, I'll be the same strength, why not? That definitely didn't happen. Had a few struggles to start with, and it didn't really
trial and error, mate. Trial and error. So, apart from those the 2 events in 2015 where you came in in the 105 class, you probably figured out that your comfort where your strength levels were more in the 120 class, eh?
Yeah, definitely. Just it's easier, like get to eat more food, and I only train 3 times a week because I'm still coaching rugby league most of the time. A lot of things. It was just a little bit easier for me to sit at 120 and bigger, stronger. It just works out much better for me.
You're quite a tall guy as well, Paul.
I'm about 6'1", 6 foot.
Yeah, so that trying to be 100 kilos on that sort of frame from a powerlifting perspective is sort of starting to get down a wee bit,
Yeah, for sure. I'm pretty broad chested, and most of my strength's in my upper body, so just that extra weight, it just makes everything a lot better for me. And it's just a bit more enjoyable,
Yeah, you get to live life. That's one of the things with powerlifting, isn't it? You actually get to.
Yeah, and you get to sort of enjoy the gains, get bigger, stronger. Like I look back at it, 2014, I don't look anything like I do now.
Yeah.
So much more muscle mass, and just much better for me overall.
It's funny, when I started, there was no talk of body weight. It was all about just eat as much as you can and get as big as you can. And it was just madness. Like our coach at the time told us we used to grab a 2-liter chocolate milk or something from the dairy on the way home from the gym, and he said you could better finish that by the time you get home. So you had to chug this thing down, and it was just about eating as much as you could. So the ton of us were fat as, but we were strong. So
as long as you're strong, right? That's really
exactly
that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for.
When was that, Greg? When you first started powerlifting?
Yeah, that was in the early days, the 2010, 11, something like that. Yeah.
I mean, because that's obviously when. Just so I wasn't trying to take a crack, but it sort of sounded like it. But
I'm always on guard with you, eh?
No, yeah, you've always got to be on your toes, bro.
Like I was going to have a go at you about the depth thing, but no, I didn't go there.
That seems to be Jackson's Achilles. Jackson's Achilles is fucking detached.
Yeah, exactly. No wonder.
No, because obviously back then it was only equipped. So like it almost was like the bigger you could be, you could fill out the gear, and you could.
The danger was that you'd spent $300 on this this squat suit that you couldn't fit.
Yeah, and you'd be too small for it, and you wouldn't get it. You wouldn't get anything out of it.
Exactly, and you bought it at a size that you thought that was just right. But of course, you could always squeeze a little bit more meat onto the body, and then you'd be a little bit tighter in the suit, and you'd obviously lift more. So
just tuck it in, tuck the folds in.
There was some logic there, Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose obviously because Paul, you've only ever lifted raw.
Raw, yeah.
I believe, yes.
Yeah. I've only ever competed raw.
Have you ever had a bash in some equipment?
Nah, never. We've had a bit of equipment, like I think we got some sent to test out for New Zealand powerlifting, and but it was all way too small for me to fit into. So we got Darren Neves, who trains with us at Shore Barbell, and he used to love the equipment stuff, but these days just stick to raw. Seems a little bit easier, a little bit more straightforward.
Yeah. Does he still use a bit of equipment? Because I saw last year he won Best Master last
Nah,
year's
not
nationals?
anymore. He just likes talking about. He has a few good memories of it, but man, he's so strong raw. So
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he. Plus, we'd give him too much grief, I think.
Yeah, no one would help. He'd be like, "Can one of you guys help me into this?" And you'd be like, "You got yourself into that mess, mate."
Yeah,
See you
we
later.
give him enough grief for just wearing a belt when he's benching. To be fair.
Yeah. I was
Not a fan of a belt benching.
Oh, I couldn't do it. I don't know. It doesn't do anything for me. But I benched flat back, belly
yeah.
arch. Just don't think it's going to help me.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Fair enough.
Paul, I competed with Darren many years ago. We used to go head to head in the equipped benching. So good guy, but it used to be fantastic. There was about 3 or 4 of us. That was back in the day where Raw and Equip were in it was the same event. Which is, looking back now, it's quite ridiculous because obviously we would win it quite easily.
You would hope so.
Yeah, exactly. We're doing 100 kilos more in the shirts than anyone else was doing raw. So, but it was good fun. Darren was a good competitor, so I'm glad to hear he's still competing.
Yeah, well, without Darren, APA wouldn't exist, I don't think. So
he heads up APA, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he's our president and does everything, man. The guy's a legend. Just does so much work, and
it's been going solid now for over a decade, if not more. I think
he said it is his 11th year this year.
That makes sense. Yeah,
that's a long time to be doing anything, let alone running a federation and 4 or 5 competitions a year.
Yeah, it's a lifetime of powerlifting, because we've talked a fair bit about the amount of change that's happened, and even in the last 10 years with powerlifting, it's been quite substantial. So, anyone who's been around in the scene for more than 10 years will have seen a great many changes.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think when I came in 2014, that was the biggest novice comp Auckland had. So that was kind of like, I think the sort of that beginning of that sort of that the burst of powerlifting, where we got big numbers. I think we had 40 something members, lifters that day, and I think the previous one maybe was 20 was the most. And there was a lot of people that day are still lifting now, so it's good to see. But we kind of skipped the equipped part. I think that was when Raw had really taken off.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Raw sort of came about 2013. So they would, so obviously that sort of, as 2014 onwards, novices are like, actually, oh yeah, no, that I don't need to wear that silly shirt that guy's wearing, or that, that is, I can do that. Those numbers are a lot more achievable. Whereas when you say to a novice, hey, Greg's benching 250, they're like, oh. They don't know any difference between raw and equipped, Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I think the rise of raw obviously correlates to the rise in the popularity in powerlifting, because a lot more accessible. Training equipped takes. I mean, I know people can do it on their own. I've heard rumors of people that can do it training wise on their own. I think they're incredibly talented to be able to do so, but more often than not, you need a group of people around you who know what they're doing and can help you get into these bloody things, because it used to take about 3 guys to get me into a bench shirt. And we've got plastic bags and stuff, which, got a water bottle, just to sort of soften the fabric a bit at times. You've got someone who will stick, especially if you've got a full suit on, someone who sticks their hand up the trouser all the way up to the top of the shirt, pulls the shirt down. You've got all sorts of things going on, eh? It's not pretty. You're like a human doll. You're just sort of sitting there while someone's yanking, tugging away, and
it's definitely a bit harder to sell to a few the new people coming through.
Exactly, you can't tell someone they're looking at you going, "Yeah, that looks really appealing, guys." I'm quite about the sport.
I remember the first couple of comps, like there was a couple of guys that did equipped, and just them having to walk around with the knee wraps and have someone really like. We have minded the people that give us water and stuff, but we could easily get up and walk around. All we're doing is knee sleeves. But these guys stuck in their chair with their wraps on or their squat suits, and I was like, I don't know what's.
There's only so many positions you've got a shirt on that are comfortable. Like I'd have to turn the chair around and prop my arms up on the back of the chair, because that was the only kind of semi-comfortable spot, in between attempts,
It must have made a pretty good training environment though. When you're all kind of aiming towards the same thing and working.
Oh, it's brilliant.
It would have been pretty fun.
I wouldn't change it for the world. But in terms of new people coming to the gym and seeing that, or at the events, it just definitely probably wasn't the biggest selling factor.
No, definitely a bit of a harder sell. Not to mention you have to buy a $300 suit, and not getting people to buy a soft suit.
Exactly. Yeah. I think I ended up towards the end. I bought a Rudy Rosales custom made bench multiply. I think it was just double ply bench shirt, but I never got to try it out. Sold it to Dan Rudolph, or gave it to Dan Rudolph actually, who runs IPL now. So yeah, that was the end of my equip days.
I was gonna say, how big is that, Greg? I'll take it for a run.
Yeah, Rudolph's got it. It'll be big. It'll fit you, mate. It won't fit me now. Yeah.
I'll have a yarn.
Have a yarn. See what he's got. Yeah.
Try for a 300 or something.
300 plus, mate. Yeah.
It'd be a good time.
You wouldn't be able to touch anything under, so probably 250. Yeah, with 260, 280. So, yeah. Right. Nice.
I'll flick him a message.
Flick him a message, yeah. So, so Paul, it's pretty much been back to back, year after year, 2 or 3 comps per year.
Yeah, pretty much.
Steady gains. You know, there's no going backwards from what I can see. You're putting on a few kilos year on year, which is good to see.
Yeah, I just
enjoy those weight cuts.
Eating. Yeah, since I realized, hey, 120 is better for you. Yeah, I just keep getting strong. Keep getting little bits and pieces. I kind of just enjoy competing. I love turning up on the day and having fun with people, and just lifting. And I'm not there to try and break the world record or anything. I'm just there to have a bit of fun and get a bit stronger. And I enjoy training. I like training 4 times a week. I just like, turning up with my friends. That's all it is. It's turning up and training with friends. And then I get to do these competitions with even more friends. And, that's what they're for. And slowly making gains. I did take a little bit of a setback. Back end of 2019, I got sick and ended up in hospital, and took a long time for me to get my squat back. So my squat's still behind my best ever at the moment. But
it did take a hit in 2019, didn't it? Yeah, 2020, the first event in 2020. Yeah, you're 20 kilos behind your previous best there, eh?
Yeah, not too sure. Squat just seemed to be the one that was really hard for me to build back. After I think I'd had 2 months off training at all. I had an IV in my arm, so I couldn't even lift the kilo weight with one of my hands. So
wow.
I had full 2 weeks doing nothing. I have 2 months, doing absolutely nothing. So it took a while. Bench came back pretty good, which was odd because I couldn't use one of my arms for 2 months, but that came back all right. And deadlift actually went up, which was odd. But the squat's just taking its time. So hopefully this year I think we'll kick on, get past that 255, which is my best ever.
Nice. Was it a major illness, injury?
I had a kidney infection, so I was in hospital for a week, and then I had 6 weeks IV antibiotics every day and IV sitting in my arm. So it was pretty horrible. A couple months off work, no training, everything kind of shut down for a couple months for me. So
do they know what caused it?
No, they're not too sure. I think it was just like a bladder infection or something that traveled further up, and it's uncommon in the male, so they weren't too sure what the deal was. Probably a little bit of overworked and over everything. So
yeah, well, you've still got quite a bit going on. I guess you were coaching at the time, you were training.
Yeah, exactly. I'm always busy. I don't have a day off.
Yeah, and you got a physical job, haven't you? Physical.
Yeah, pumping concrete. So that's carrying, dragging hoses around and pushing concrete around all day.
How do you find that affects your training in the evenings? Because I guess you're still doing it now, aren't you?
When I first started, it tanked my training. Like, training was just impossible because my body just wasn't used to it. I've only been doing it for like 18 months now.
Yeah.
And the training was terrible to start with. I didn't really know what I was doing. But I was being a bit stupid. I would still kind of finish work and go straight to the gym and just start training. And my body just was like, nah, what are you doing? You've already just worked a hard day. But now I kind of take my time, have a bit of an hour, have a bit of food, and have a bit of a rest up, and then training. Now it's all good. I just keep going. My shoulders get a bit knackered because it's mostly a lot of like carrying and pushing.
Yeah.
So I can get, my bench has gone a bit average in the last sort of 6 months.
I'm assuming you work with a bunch of other lads as well. Are they quite forgiving when you say, "Oh, sorry guys, it's a leg day today, so can you do that for me? Because I just need to have
mate, they know that I'm a powerlifter, so they're like, "Oh, you can pick up the heavy one, right?" I'm like, "Fuck, yeah, every time."
I can't, man. Deadlift.
You can drag that one, and they're like, I mean, when I get close to a comp, I'll be like, "Hey guys, I'm competing on Saturday. I might just take it easy today." But other than that, the guys they're pretty good dudes. So I enjoy. But they do it like giving me a bit of stick about having to pick up all the heavy stuff just because I do the training.
Yeah, you work out in the gym. You're a powerlifter. You must be strong. Yeah, you must be involved in quite a few house moving and things like that. Eh? People
It's the worst.
Yeah, you get those calls, eh?
Probably the one thing they didn't tell you when you start powerlifting is that you're going to have to move everybody's house for the next 10 years.
Yeah. They do it to me at work. I work in a corporate company, and they're like, "Oh, Greg, we need a cabinet move. Are you able to come down and give us a hand?" I work in bloody HR, but they're still like, "Nah, can you come and give us a hand?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah, if you can attach a barbell to it, I can do it. But other than that, I've got nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. They seem to think that like, oh, you can lift this in the gym, so you can lift that in real life, and I'm like, no, that's like, I can't lift your car and like, do whatever. That's not how it works. I'm not gonna lift your couch by myself.
Yeah.
Like, get on the other fucking end.
Yeah.
I don't have to walk with a butt deadlift. I just stand up and put it back down. That's
exactly. Yeah. I'm not strong, man.
I can pick the couch up and you can vacuum under it, and that's about it.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Actually, I got a question for both guys. For both of you, actually, what's the most embarrassing thing people have got you to do lifting wise because they think you're strong? Jackson, what's Jackson?
Well, this isn't embarrassing. This is actually a great yarn. So, my mate had this. I don't know if you guys know what a super carry is. It's like a little old van. It's like a mini high ass van.
Yep.
One of those little shitty ones that you see everyone driving around, and they're always like, they just look like they're gonna break, like a matchbox car. Yeah. So I don't know what they weigh. They're probably 400 or 500 kilos or whatever. And so my mate gets a flat tire in his, and they're these little wheels. They're like space savers, almost like all the way around, Yeah. And so he gets a flat tire, gets the tire out the back, and starts to try to pump the jack, and the jack's fucked. And so when he says get this tire done, and he was about to like ring like AA or whatever, I was like, nah, bro, don't worry about it. Don't waste your minutes, or don't waste your call outs or whatever. I was like, let me have a bash. And so I went around the back and just picked it up and held it while he picked it up, and it came up. It came up, and I was almost surprised. And I was like, no, I totally planned that, bro. That was definitely going to happen.
He's probably thinking, damn.
Yeah, he's sitting there. He's like, oh shit, like this is mint.
I hope he went pretty quick.
Yeah,
you'll be thinking after the first minute, hurry up.
He's like, hey, John, did you go quick? I'm like. No, play. No, bro. It's all good. I got this. It's chill. Meanwhile, my fingers are like dying. yeah. But to his benefit, he went pretty quick, and so I've been a carjack before.
You've been a carjack, yeah.
I have been a carjack and helped change a tire just by lifting it.
Nice. What about you, Paul? Have you been asked to do anything just because you're strong? Have people asked you to do things that you like?
It's mostly picking up people. Seems to be the one.
Yeah,
people love being picked up, yeah.
We're at a wedding in Fiji.
You couldn't pick me up?
Yeah. Well, I could pick anyone up. It just depends how far. But we're at a wedding in Fiji, and one of the guys thought it would be funny. He was way too drunk for a wedding. Let's put it that way. But he thought
that's pretty drunk, because you can get pretty drunk at a wedding.
Yeah, it's not so good when you're that drunk at the not the reception, but at the ceremony itself.
Oh, that's not good. No.
But he thought he wanted to do the dirty dancing move, so he thought he could jump up and I'd pick him up and hold him over my head and we'd spin around. It's just 4 or 5 hours at the wedding. He would find me and run at me just randomly and sort of jump at me, so I'd have to every time try and catch him and pick him up over my head. I threw him off over the top of a couple of times, but he still kept coming. That's probably the worst.
You should have picked him up and thrown him out the door.
Yeah.
That's some commitment.
It is, eh? It is.
That's solid.
I used to work in sales a long time ago for Spark, and there was a big celebration, like a big sale had been made. So the GM of the division, I don't know, I don't want to call him a dickhead, but he used to like pointing me out, going, "Hey, big shoulders! Hey, big shoulders!" Yeah, and so this big celebration. Everybody stayed late. It's a Friday night. It's in the office. It's only like a 5 to 6 p.m. thing. There's a few drinks going around, and there's a big crowd of people. There's probably 100 people in the room, and he goes, "Greg, come over here, Greg." Oh my fucking hell! He's like, "Hey, everybody, this is the strongest guy here. What should we get him to do?" Everyone's like, bench press a girl. And I'm like, oh no.
Where's
Who
my
wants
shirt?
to,
Where's
who
my
wants
shirt
to
with my
volunteer?
wrist straps?
Who wants to volunteer? Because everyone's just going like this. He goes, you. He points to a girl. She's like you. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So I had to lie on my back. And this girl had to lie, I said, can you try and pretend you're a bar? Because it's not, so it's not normal. Stay as rigid as you can. And I had to bench press this girl. And she was just like, oh, she was so mortified. But yeah, I won't do that again. Yeah.
Did you get a pay rise?
100%, mate. Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, the right people.
I hope she got a pay rise too. Yeah.
Just got to bench press the right people, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
It turns out it was your boss in the next like 3 years.
Nice. So Paul, going back to you now. So your last competition was just last year, wasn't it? So that was in with the thick of COVID, eh? Well, we were in one of our breaks between lockdowns, November.
Yeah.
You did the Classic Cup.
Yep, did the Classic Cup. It was a good time.
Biggest ever total, 710.
Yep, 710. So it was a 245 squat.
190,
190 and 270. 275. Oh,
Yeah.
See, I'm terrible with my numbers.
Nice.
It was a good time. It was a pretty good year of training considering lockdowns and all that stuff. I was lucky enough we got a garage here that we could put the squat rack in. We had a squat rack, and the North Shore Barbell guys lent out some of the gear to us. So we grabbed some gear, and I hate training by myself. I am terrible when I'm training alone. I just don't enjoy it. I think it's from years of playing team sport. Just don't enjoy being alone and, sitting around. So it was harder for me to train. And I think I got 2-3 weeks into lockdown and I just gave up on squatting and deadlifting. I was still coming back from being sick. And I was just like, you know what? Let's just give up. There's no point fighting a losing battle here. So I benched for the lockdown, and then got back to the gym and I was ready to go squat and deadlift again.
I always I find that interesting because our last guest, which is, I guess I can say it because it would be out by now, Daryl McQueen was telling us that because he trains alone, and he was saying, well, if the weight and the bar, what's on the bar is not important enough to you, you're not doing it for the right reasons. I don't know if I agree with that, because I don't personally, I don't like training in an empty garage, which I did do through a couple of the lockdowns, was to train alone. There's something about having that atmosphere and people around you doing the same thing, which I personally find motivating. But Jackson, you're the same, eh? I don't think you. How do you train alone? Can you train alone?
Yeah. I mean, I do have obviously a really good training crew, so that's mint. I'm not gonna ever say that hasn't helped my lifting. And I've had great I've only ever formally had one coach, but I've had a lot of mentors along the way, I suppose, older, more experienced guys who have taken me under their wing and just helped me hit whatever that next level is. But I've on the occasion, I can train alone, and I can train pretty hard alone.
Yeah, that's good.
I feel like I'll almost go too, I don't want to say too hard, that sounds cocky, but I don't rest as long if I'm by myself. Because
you get bored, right?
Yeah, you just sit there. Whereas when I'm with people, I probably do it the opposite end. I probably rest too long because I just sit there and spin shit yarns. So it's So I can train alone, but I prefer training with the lads. At least there's the three of us, so I prefer training with the lads. But yeah, I think being able to train alone is definitely a separate skill set.
Yeah, I think there's just some people that can definitely do it. I'm definitely just not one of those people, and that's it. I'm okay with that.
I mean, from what you've said, you're not a super lifting's not the be all and end all as such. It's a hobby for you to hang out with and be social as such.
Yeah, exactly. I just enjoy lifting. I enjoy what the benefits of getting stronger and trying to break my PBs, but I'm mostly there because it's just good fun. It's enjoyable to hang out with mates and talk. Like you said, I'll train for 3 hours. I'll lift for 45 minutes at the most. We're there to talk and just hang out. And, people that I train with, for a few years now, good friends, and you go to the weddings and you hang out with them on the weekends. It's not just the gym; it becomes a lot more than that. And even people that I compete with, at competitions, you're friends with and hang out outside of powerlifting. And not many sports is like that. You can get the camaraderie in a team, but not really with the other team. But in powerlifting, it doesn't matter what, as long as you're just enjoying yourself.
I feel like people that haven't found like say a gym like North Shore or like Body Core like we have, if they haven't found a gym that's like that, they're just like, oh, you just go to the gym.
Yeah.
You don't get that social side, which I think the social side is becoming more commonplace now as there gets to be more and more powerlifters sort of training together, which is then leading to more new people coming in because they're like, oh, these guys are all good. Like you say, these guys are actually cool. I can hang out with these guys.
Yeah,
100%.
It's common to all strength sports though that are successful. Is their community.
Yeah, it's as much as social. I mean, like I say to people, I'm like, oh, I'm going down to the gym, and like even if I'm not training, like I had a deload week, and I'll like still go down to the gym. I'm not training. I just go and sit down the back and just gas bag.
Yeah.
It's because it's where you hang out. It's like probably most tradies that I know go to the pub after work.
Yeah, my old man goes to the pub.
Yeah.
4 or 5 o'clock on a Thursday, Friday. That's where he goes. I go to the gym. It's not that much different, to be fair. It's just we have different activities.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's exactly the same. You have your mates happen to hang out at the gym instead.
Yeah, I think the social side of things has become so much stronger. Like when I first started, you were friends with the people you knew, but everyone was a little bit. You didn't really know how everyone else was going to react. Like you're competing, and some people are keen on being focused on themselves, and you don't want to ruin their day. You want to let them do what they want to do. And I think as the years progressed from probably 2015 to now, you go at the back, it would be completely different. Back then it was all pretty quiet. Everyone was keeping to themselves, headphones on, listening to whatever music they want. Now you go at the back and everyone's talking. Everyone's like, a few guys have headphones on, but most people are just talking shit and enjoying themselves. I like that. You get to especially the big dogs, 120 pluses. We're all about relax, chill, find a chair, sit down and eat the lollies and whatever we want. Some of the lighter weight classes get a little bit more intense, but we're just there to have a bit of fun.
Yeah, what is that? I definitely agree with that. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just we move slower, so we have more spare time.
Well, there's no nervous walking with the big guys. We're not nervous walkers, or we're not. I think maybe it's just the style.
Yeah. Save the calories.
Yeah, and just chill and find a chair and talk and just enjoy yourselves.
I actually saw that. I think I've mentioned in the past on the podcast about when Dave Tate was trying to go up 2 weight classes to break some world squat record, and he was eating something ludicrous. But his mantra as well at that stage for activity wise, he was like, why would I run if I can walk? Why would I walk if I can stand? Why would I stand if I can sit? And why would I sit if I can lie down? And so it's just, I suppose that's what it is, isn't it? You just sort of sit there and I'll usually take it.
Oh, definitely, 100%. It's the first thing I do when I get out of the back. You got to find the chair.
Yeah.
Put it down, and that's my seat. Every time, I've got people that I help out all the time. They're out walking around, and I'm like, you're stressing me out. What are you doing? Just relax. It's nothing new. You don't have to panic. But yeah, I think it's just good fun. Turn up and.
It's a big difference between that and powerlifting and bodybuilding in that respect, though. And the bodybuilding events that I've been to over the years, there's no banter at the back in the back room, and there's nobody pacing. Because they haven't got enough energy. There's lying down. My last bodybuilding show several years ago, we would just lie down because there was big gaps between, you're going on stage. And so you literally just lie down and conserve energy because you had nothing in you whatsoever. You maybe had a bit of food on the day, but there's no camaraderie. That's what's the brilliant thing about powerlifting is there's absolute camaraderie between people. We've talked about it so many times, Jackson. It's an individual, but it's a team sport at the same time.
Yeah, 100%. It's I mean, it's an interesting one. Like Paul. I mean, Paul. So you obviously like last year, say you didn't do nationals, but did you still come down for?
Oh yeah, I was there the whole week.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I had a wedding an hour after my session would have started, or ended
right.
actually.
Yeah.
So I was literally on the plane going back to Auckland while my session had started. So it was just terrible timing. And
Yeah.
but I got down, I think Tuesday, straight from the plane, spotting and loading. Then I refereed pretty much the rest of the time. But
Nice.
I would
That's
never
what I
miss it.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So like everyone is quite happy to. I find the same with our sort of lifting group. You know, you're quite happy to miss a comp to then have one of the other lads compete, and you'll go and it's almost like you're competing, but obviously you're not. You're supporting him competing or whatever. So you guys obviously have that with your sort of crew as well. You know.
Oh yeah, there isn't a comp that I won't go to if I've got the opportunity. I love watching sport. Like I love watching any sport, and I like watching powerlifting equally. Like I watch GPC nationals, and I watch any powerlifting that's on. I'll watch it. So when my mates are competing, I definitely go. And obviously these days I help out every competition, so there's that as well. But
yeah,
I'd go anyway. So
that's a whole different kettle of fish when you're involved in the admin, the officiating, etc., etc.
Yeah, well, 2018, that's I spotted and loaded all but one session.
Oof.
So,
that's how many days was that? 4? 5?
4 days. 4 days.
That was the national champs, was it?
Yeah, in Auckland.
Wow, incredible! You must have been pretty tired by the end of that.
Yeah, but it was just so fun. Like you watch all these lifters, and just hanging out.
Fair enough too.
Wait, you lifted at that comp as well?
No, I didn't lift. It was
that
sorry, 2019. I got it wrong.
Oh, I was gonna say, I was like 2018. You spot loaded everything and then totaled 700 for the first time. That'd be huge.
Yeah, I'm getting my years wrong. 2019, I didn't compete. I just helped out. 2018, I got to compete.
Yeah, nice. So there's not many people don't understand that either, do they? Meets don't happen without people willing to do that. They just expect that meets are gonna. Oh, there's a powerlifting meet. They're always gonna be there.
Yeah, you turn up for weigh-in and it's all done and ready to go. It's that's just unfortunately, you try as hard as you can to get as many people involved, and we're got an advantage in Auckland where like us as North Shore Barbell and Get Strength are really close, really good friends with everyone. So when we help out, the other guys see that and they want to help out. So we're getting more and more volunteers now, which is good for us because it saves us having to do all the work. But I just like going, and then we try and build a little bit more of a bit more fun because the more helpers, the more enjoyable it is. So
yeah, with smoother it runs too, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So Paul, in terms of your rise to where you are now, role, how did that get started? I'm assuming you had previous roles before this one, before the president role.
Yeah. So in 2018, we hit the split to IPF and World Powerlifting, and World Powerlifting took most of the committee for the NZPF with them. So we pretty much had to restart with the NZPF. Graham Fong took over as president. Did an awesome job for us in a pretty dire time where we were all trying to figure out exactly what needed to be done. And I got on as the NEC representative for Auckland. Did that for a year. The next 2019 Nationals, I was voted in as vice president. So I took over that role to help Graham out because he wanted to be able to travel and things and not have to worry about it all the time. So there was me and Amy who were doing that. And then last year, just as sort of before lockdown and when everything with COVID was happening, Graham stepped down as the president just for some personal reasons. And I jumped in, said I guess it was my time to step up to the plate, and then took over for the rest of the year and was voted in officially as the NZPF president at last year's Nationals.
Nice, congratulations.
Thank you. Well, congratulations might be a bit further than reservations sometimes.
Proofs of the pudding, eh? Yeah. So what's the day in the life of a federation, well, an NZPF president? What's the typical day look like? Are you involved in the powerlifting on a day-to-day basis, or is it how many hours?
Probably not day to day. It's just when anything has to come up. Most of our regions are very well organized, and so they sort out all their novice comps and all their regional comps and things like that. Just the odd thing, you do dispensations or getting referees organized. But again, we've got great people in those roles that just organize it. Don't have to do a hell of a lot. There's a few things that come up, and we just deal with them as a group and move on from that. Obviously with COVID, it was making a whole lot of decisions around that, pushing competitions back and canceling competitions and trying to get everything to run smoothly. And we did an awesome job as a whole group, across New Zealand, to be fair. Powerlifting was keep lots of competitions kept running, and we didn't really skip a beat. We missed out on a couple comps, North Islands and South Islands, but Nationals was huge, and I don't see it stopping.
You would have probably seen the same thing that Jackson and I saw, was that for many people, powerlifting is their how would I describe it? It's pivotal towards their mental well-being, and their mental health, circles around their ability to be able to lift and train. And so, without sounding too overly dramatic, there's almost a responsibility on those running the powerlifting meets to, obviously find alternative dates and keep things moving, because people depend on these events for that outlet. Did you find the same thing with your lifters as well?
Yeah, we want to be able to provide the best competitions for our lifters. We all lift. Everyone on the NEC or the National Executive Committees is still competing. So we all know that we want to compete. We're just like everyone else. We want to go to the competitions and lift. So we definitely thought that we had to come up with strategies and ways to make it as easy, because it was a bit of an unsure time for everyone. We pushed back. Memberships didn't have to be in until later to allow for lockdown to sort of clear. And then the regions, we all sort of talked together. All the regions sort of organize a time frame where all the competitions would happen for regionals. And obviously there was things like dispensations were probably a little bit higher because there was only one competition to get ready for. We had to sort that stuff out. And at the end of the day, we're there to make sure that lifters enjoy themselves, turn up and have fun. But we also want to keep it competitive. We want people to turn up in the best shape and put on a show. So we want all the best lifters lifting, and we want to showcase that. And I think Nationals last year was the best showcase we'd seen for a few years. So
yeah, I didn't go, but Jackson, you went, and you said the best.
It was huge, man. I went for like a little bit, probably a couple of days, not the whole days, obviously, because I was working and stuff, but in and out for the lifting, and then went to the banquet with a couple of the guys from Body Core, and it was huge, man. That was, I think I said it when we were did the interview with Amy, but that was the best NZPF Nationals I've ever seen. It was like you said, and it was the biggest as well, so that's huge to do the most lifters, because usually if you get that many lifters, there's obviously like teething problems and stuff, but
definitely
it was good, man. So what's the plan like this year for Nationals? Are they topping it? Because is it still down in Christchurch this year, or?
At the moment, yeah, it is. We're just sort of trying to figure out some stuff, because obviously they've done it the last year, so just trying to make sure everything's okay for them to do it again, because it's such a big task. We want to make sure that everything's okay, and it runs smoothly and everyone enjoys themselves, because we've found it, like, I've been volunteering for a long time. It can be quite overwhelming sometimes. You get changes in your own life, and the volunteering sort of like, oh my God, I've still got to organize powerlifting events and things like that. So we just want to give as much support as we can to everybody. We've got an invitational NZ Invitational
in April.
Coming up. No, sorry, it's March.
Oh, March.
March.
Yeah, that's soon.
7th?
Yeah, I was going to
sorry,
say
sorry,
that's
so
soon.
March.
Yeah.
14th of March.
Sorry, yeah.
That's going to be a big event. That's in conjunction with a fitness show, is it?
Yeah, Live Fit, I think it's called.
Mm.
Live Fit. So we've had that in the past where we've jumped in on a couple of fitness shows, and those comps are awesome. It's cool for the lifters to have a bit of a different environment, and then it's good, show off to the masses, I guess, so people can see, exactly what goes on. We've got there's a few people who had to pull out, unfortunately, and a few of our best lifters are having a bit of time off. But we're going to put on a real good competition, and it'll be a good showcase for the NZPF.
Nice.
So how many?
Sorry, Jackson.
I was going to say, so how many lifters are you sort of looking at for that?
I think at the moment 8 males and 11 female lifters.
Nice. So that was qualification by IPF points.
Yeah, from nationals last year. So,
right, so based on nationals last year. So it's almost like if you were in the top 10, top 15 from last year nationals overall.
Basically, plan was to give out to the top 10, and people can't make it for various reasons, and we sort of drop down as the list goes. We've probably had to drop a little bit further than we'd planned. But it is early in the year, and people are still sort of in holiday mode, right?
Yeah.
It's still sunny outside at 8 o'clock at night, so sometimes you just want to be at the beach.
And so then, is that obviously with that fewer competitors, is it scored on just purely on a formula, or is it just
on good lift points? Just the same as like the SBD invitation, the Sheffield comp was going to be last year. Yeah, last year. Just on good lift points. So whoever lifts the most weights, gets the most points will take the overall there.
Is SBD, that event was cancelled, wasn't it? So are they going to put another one on?
I'm actually not too sure. I don't think anything that big's going to be planned for a little while, especially international wise. I wouldn't be throwing a whole lot of money into an international.
What country was that going to be?
It was in the UK. It was in
UK.
Sheffield. Yeah.
Okay.
It was where SBD originally came from.
Is that their hometown? Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. The UK is looking pretty good these days. I mean, it's getting better and better. I mean, the numbers are going down. The vaccines are 25, 30 million people, I think, give or take, have had at least, the first dose. First dose,
The other 20 million won't have it. the 5Gers, tinfoil hats.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a quarter of New Zealanders won't be having the injection either, from the sounds of it. So, any big events coming up for you? What's your goals yourself there, Paul? What do you want to do?
For me this year, I'm not going to do Auckland's. I'm going to go to do North Islands. I'm actually currently working with Kedrick Kwan for nutrition, looking at just dropping some body weight. As I said,
you're going to try that 105 again, eh?
Maybe, yeah. It's kind of what we're looking for, but at the same time, I'm aware that I don't want to force myself to go down to 105 and panic. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'll just lift it 110, 112. See what I can do, and then go from there, sort of thing.
So in terms of the NEC, there's yourself. Who's the VP now?
Darren Neves and Amy Christensen. Yeah.
Oh, so dual VP. Yeah. Okay.
So we have a South Island and a North Island VP.
Okay. So I mean, other than Darren, he's an old boy like me, but it's quite a young NEC now. That's almost a first now, is it for NZPF? It's always been
definitely
older generation. If I put it like that.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's probably been our biggest strength since that split in 2018 is the new blood come through, and you can kind of tell from things like the live streams increasing. Like the live stream when probably 2019 was just a video, kind of switched cameras, and now you've got commentary, you've got stats, you've got every little bit of information about the lifters, and it's all stepped up to the next level, and all the competitions are the same now. Everyone is expecting a lot, and I think it's come from a lot of the youth sort of, or that next generation's come through. Like I'm 32, so I'm not quite in the older category quite yet. I'm waiting for that 8 more years till I'm a master. I'll wait to win something then.
Wait till Darren buggers off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Although he's pushing out these totals a bit too much for me at the moment, but that's all right. But yeah, that sort of next generation's come through, and it's been really good because lots of good ideas, and they're keen as, like, everybody's so super keen to do as much as they can for the sport, and it's helpful for me because we put things out there and everyone's got ideas and plans to put things in place. So.
How do you manage that? Because do you engage with the members at all in terms of ideas? I mean, you must be talking to them even at events and stuff. And I'm sure they're bound to give you.
Yeah, I'm a pretty open person, so I like talking to all the lifters I can, and most of them give me any information or ideas, and with sort of filters down. So if we have an idea at the top, we go to our regional delegates, and they go to their committees, and their committees talk to the people, their lifters. So we do take into account, and at the best of our ability, we try and think about the lifters as much as we can. But we've also got to think as a federation. So sometimes there's big rules and things that we don't have any control over that have been made 20 years ago or 30 years ago. That we still have to uphold.
How much? That's a good question. How much flexibility do you have? Because obviously, the IPF globally will dictate how events are run, give or take, what the steadfast rules are. But what sort of flexibility have you seen? Or
really, outside of the equipment that we must use, which most people own anyway. So, we have the SBD and Titan and all that. Everybody uses that gear as a rule anyway. The racks and stuff have to be linked in, but all the regions have that stuff. And pretty much outside of that, must be drug tested. That's kind of the big one. But in terms of how the competitions are run, we dictate how they're run. There's the rules around, how many lifters can be in a flight and how many flights can be done and all those kinds of things. But most of the competitions run, especially at an Auckland level, a regional level, is up to the meet director.
Do you ever feel any inclination to change any of the rules? Any of the rules that that you wanted to share now? Are there any rules that you think, wouldn't mind changing that?
Not currently. I don't really think there's anything that that sticks out to me that I think needs to be changed. I enjoy powerlifting as it is. So, I don't think there's anything really off the top of my head that I can think of.
Nice.
You're not one of those people that's like completely anti-sumo deadlifts or anti-bench arches, etc.
No, because otherwise I can't give anyone any grief about it.
That's true.
If we outlaw it, then we're all just doing the same stuff. At least I can rip on someone for pulling sumo when they pull 50 kilos, 60 kilos more than me at half my body weight,
They're looking at the posts, when the public get onto it, when someone pulls sumo or has a bench arch.
Oh, dude.
Like that.
That's hilarious.
And oh my God, they're like, what's that? That's not even legal. Is that even, that's going to break your spine.
Dude, I had that the other day, literally like my bench from this week just gone.
Really?
And some random guy comments on it and he's like...
Random guy.
Yeah, honestly, like private profile, like sort of modeling shot for his profile picture. And he's like, you shouldn't bench like that. You're going to hurt your back.
You should listen to these people, Jackson.
And I'm like, I literally just said, I was like, I'm amazed that it's still, I was like, is this actually still a thing?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, bro, benching with proper technique's always been a thing. You'll see. And I was like, you'll see.
You'll see, yeah.
Like, all right, bro, all good. It was so good. I'm amazed that it's still a thing and people just throw it out there,
The thing is that you're in like your little bubble and you don't think that there's like uninformed people out there that, like everybody that does powerlifting knows, that you can arch, it's not going to kill you. But there's people out there that don't know. I go to footy training and the guy's like, oh yeah, but you bench like a powerlifter. I was like, what do you mean? I just bench press. Like it's not anything. There's nothing special.
Yeah.
What do you bench with your feet in the area, mate?
I lie on the bench and I push the bar off. It's fine. It's all good.
Yeah. All I do is pull my my back tight and bench press. It's nothing special.
It's an interesting one. It's I don't know how people seem to think that they chuck their opinions out. It's great though. It's good entertainment.
It's good when you've got to have an excuse, right? There's got to be a reason why someone's stronger than you. It's sure as hell is that you don't try hard enough or train hard enough.
Yeah. He's going to have a fucked back when he's older. So it's good. It makes me feel good about my bench that's half of his.
Yeah, we got one of the guys, a 66 lifter at Shore Barbell. Will, he's got a massive arch, but he benches 145 at 66.
Man,
He's a junior.
That's
It's a huge bench press. Doesn't matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm still going to give him a bit of grief. But at the end of the day,
yeah.
we all know it's pretty impressive. So
yeah, it's impressive as fuck.
How are the other, his other lifts? What are they like?
I think he squats in 175. He's still chasing 180, I think. And he's missed a few deadlifts. Can't think. 220.
I often wonder, and I don't know if this is a fact or not, but people with a mad arch typically will suffer in one of the other two lifts. That's just a theory.
Yeah.
No scientific basis whatsoever. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, they can arch, but they're shit at squats. Is that true?
Coach Green coming out.
I'm just thinking, like, I just want to say, well, yeah, sure, they can arch, but they can't deadlift.
Well, I think that's if you can arch and you've got short arms. Like I can't. I've got short arms. Like my arms are way too short. That's my deadlift. It's
Short
terrible.
arms, yeah.
Whereas there's Will is pretty lucky. He's got quite long arms, but that's the way he benches with super wide grip. And he kind of cheats that a little bit. But I agree. When they've
Just trying to justify my shit
got to
lifting.
be something, right?
I feel like that's more like just like leverages, Greg, rather than like that's correlation, not.
I'm just thinking, your back can't be that strong if it can go all the way like that,
My back's all right, mate. My arch.
You don't, buddy. I don't think you arch at all. I'm thinking about some of these little Russian girls that just basically.
Oh yeah.
Their head's touching their ass. It's crazy.
Yeah, but then they'll pull sumo with their feet,
and then they go like this.
Plates.
Yeah,
it's like crazy. Yeah.
And they'll pull fucking 200 at like 70 kilos, and you're
exactly,
like, what?
No,
What are you doing?
Damn. So do you, Paul? Do you follow? Who do you follow? Do you follow any big names? So IPF lifters or general lifters and
the pretty normal ones: Russell Orhe, Brett Gibbs, obviously, Bray Williams. Most of the IPF lifters I follow. John Hack. All those kinds of guys. Even Dan Green and all that. When I first started, they were big when I first started. So I follow all those guys, and I just have a look at what they do and feel bad about myself sometimes.
Nice.
The so for you, Paul, what's obviously future wise, you're just gonna keep competing. You love it. You'll probably lift and compete till you can't.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
I would say it to everybody: is just don't think about it. Think about it in the long term, not the short term.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you've there's little increments. That's the hardest part to get to people though, is that it's a marathon, not a sprint. Isn't it? That's the hard sell.
Yeah, people. I always talk to people about they're having a bit of a crappy training or this cycle's not going very well. I'm like, well, are you quitting tomorrow? Like, probably not. You're probably going to compete next year. So like, it's only a month or something that's going badly, And I've had it. We've had bad cycles and things like that. But I don't plan on quitting, so it's not going to affect me next year when I get ready for nationals or whatever.
Yeah, so just keep going. So what do you see for powerlifting in like the next 5 years? Like what's obviously as a federation president, do you have some sort of long-term goal, aspirations, etc. for powerlifting?
I just wanted to keep the big goal for us is to keep it growing. Obviously, we want more and more people doing powerlifting, but we also want those people to stay in powerlifting. We want them to not just do a novice comp or Auckland's and then kind of move on. We want them to aspire to go to nationals and go to international competitions, or if they're not that, just to compete for the rest of their lives. It's good for your body, it's good for the soul pretty much. But we want people to stay in and work on. With coaches, we've got so many of these cool coaches now that have changed the way that people come into the sport. When we all started, there was probably no coaches, or there was very few when I started. We're all learning, but now people turn up to a novice competition with a coach and everything's shown to them, and it's a lot easier, And I think building that relationship helps a lot in terms of growing that as well. We want more people to get coached and understand the sport. But I think, while we want to keep getting bigger, we want to make sure that everybody stays in the sport for as long as possible.
So it's quality as such. You don't just have people come in, have this massive churn rate of members, and you've got 100 new members, but you've got 100 leaving.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's like a big part of it is people jump into the sport and enjoy it, but things happen. Like we get a lot of uni students starting powerlifting, and then they get a job, and you're suddenly working 8 till 5 or 9 to 5 or whatever hours, and they're like, you know what, maybe I'll just skip the training for a few weeks.
Yeah.
We try and get them back. We want them to come back after they realize it's not the end of the world. Coming to competitions and enjoying coming to competitions, and enjoying, I think, not just the powerlifting, but everything that comes with it. So, you can turn up and enjoy the actual lifting itself, but hang around and enjoy the community as a whole. I think that's where the retention is its strongest. You went to the banquet at Nationals, and that's a bunch of people that you wouldn't think only see each other once a year. It's people just enjoying themselves and having fun, and they're good friends. And I think that's where our strength lies, and we want to keep pushing that as hard as possible.
100%. Do you think the sort of the social media side of things will be big on that? Obviously, like you say, like you guys have done stepped up the game online, live stream wise. Do you think that could be where powerlifting's heading? As in, when we had Steve and Joseph on from WP, they were potentially going to be running, I think it was Oceanias virtually.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you think that could be something in the future, or do you still sort of see it as it'll be steadfast, and then like obviously the big IPF goal of getting to the Olympics? Do you think that that's like on the cards, or if you can't answer that, you can't answer that, but you know.
I think the social media side of things is the best tool for advertising the sport.
Yeah.
You go online and you check out these people. They've got big muscles. They're strong. They look good. And they're enjoying themselves. And powerlifting's their avenue to get there. And then, as you said, the live streams, like being able to watch a live stream, like if you've never competed before. I had a couple of guys email me, I'm starting out, I'm not sure what to do. I just send them the links. Because now it's got commentary and all this. You can watch a competition and be like, oh, okay, so that's what that was. And you can understand it a lot more. When you start out, you don't have that ability. You're not sure. You've maybe not gone to a competition first. That sort of is able to drum up a lot more interest in your brothers and your cousins and your friends, and can watch it and be like, oh, this is actually really cool. Like my friends I'd been competing for 6 years, and they come to a first competition and they're like, oh, this is actually cool. I was like, yeah, I know, that's why I do it. So I hope that the social media side of things and the live streams can really like build that base. But I do think that being at the competitions is where you're gonna really enjoy the whole thing with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that atmosphere of being at a comp is next. You can't replace that with like virtual comps.
Yeah, and I think that there was a cool idea, like because they were going to do. I actually listened to that podcast, so I think they were going to sort of do it simultaneously. But I think they kind of. Not only is it a difficult task with time zones and internet and all that kind of stuff, but like without the person there, it would be weird.
Yeah.
Like I think you would miss out on something, like that Oceania stand like had a massive total and like huge deadlift. And if some guy was just sitting there, in Australia waiting to try and beat him, you just wouldn't get the same like excitement, While obviously we need to there's concessions at the moment with COVID and all that, but you're definitely going to miss something if you're going to try that first,
Yeah, I don't see it ever like becoming mainstream, like post-COVID. I don't personally think it'll ever be a thing. I think that powerlifting will always be an in-person live experience.
Yeah.
But as you say, COVID demanded it, so.
Yeah, and I think it was a cool idea. I just think it was, when I heard it, I was like, well, that's going to be pretty difficult, but they gave it a go, but it was quite good. They had all the live streams going, so.
Yeah. Speaking of virtual, what do you think of Jackson's idea, video reffing?
Video reffing? I haven't heard this one.
You haven't heard
Hey,
it? So
don't put this on me. How is this my idea?
I'm not laying claim to this one.
When did I say this?
Yeah, another episode.
I
Well,
take no blame for this.
This is called the Jackson reference standard. Three cameras, technology. You've got sensors on the bar, measuring, bar path and depth and all that. All the things that.
All right, no, okay. I will take this. This is not video.
Now we take it.
This is different.
Now that it's a good idea.
This is TMO. This is like like line judging. So it's like lasers and technology.
Yeah, I was getting to that. Yeah.
Not me and you fucking sitting at home in our armchair saying that prick squatted high.
Who do I call, honey? Hi. No, that was that came off the back of a previous episode with Laura Segro, using the velocity-based training, and it measures the velocity. There was a sensor you could attach to the bar that could determine depth, and we were thinking, could technology ever play a role to assist the referees that are sitting there in determining things like stationary bar in the chest, for example, and depth in squat. And I can't think of what else it would make any use for. But do you see in the future technology ever playing a role or a bigger role?
I think so. Whether or not, I don't think it would ever replace referees.
No, it wouldn't replace, no.
But potentially, as a jury sort of situation, if this technology is shown to work and repeatable, because it's going to take a bit of a beating, bench pressing and being squatted 300-400 kilo squats and things like that. As long as it's all good, and you'll never beat what the ref can see. There's lots of little things that happen.
No, but it might be one of those kind of like moments.
But yeah, two
ref
get two reds or two whites, and someone goes, "Oh, can you check that?"
Yeah, it's on my phone. Sorry.
The jury's got the information there. Then yeah, maybe for sure. Like I know at Worlds they have a video feed for the jury to have a second look at it. So potentially, if the technology is there, then yeah, for sure.
So there's a video feed, eh? That's interesting. Where have they placed the cameras?
They've got one sort of towards the bench, sort of that depth look, and on the bench, the butt, because that's probably the hardest one for the refs to always see,
Oh, the butt, yeah, that's true.
Refereeing the bench is the hardest because there's just so much to watch, You've got feet, butt, shoulders, head, bar path. Is the bar going backwards? Is it going,
I'd also argue the squat when you've got 150 people on the platform to squat, and you've got to try. You've got big spotted loaders. You've got someone doing 300-400 kilo plus, and then as a ref, you've got to try and squeeze in between legs to try and get in there.
So we've got a few referees sitting on the floor and things like that.
Yeah, almost like lines. Yeah. I think that idea about their video technology is gone now. I think somebody's already picked it up because we've mentioned it twice now. And
someone's definitely picked it up, bro. We should have trademarked
like those suckers. Yeah, they've just lost $2 million.
Well, there's plenty of engineers in powerlifting, so you should be able to find someone. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a thing. That's definitely a thing. I think powerlifting seems to attract nerds.
Oh, definitely, 100%.
Because it's quantitative, and you can break it down technically and stuff, and programming, you can get into the nitty gritty, and that's what these people enjoy. I'm a self-proclaimed nerd as well. I love it.
It's also, it can be antisocial, it can be social. You don't necessarily need to pick a side. You can operate on your own. You can either be a team player or you don't need to be a team player. Powerlifting invites all sorts.
Yeah, definitely. I think you can. Yeah, there are a lot of people like that, and a lot of people start out like that, and they're like, "Oh, I just like training by myself. I've got a bit of a setup in the garage and competing." And like you said, they have that quantitative sort of look. Oh, I did this last week, and I can do 5 more next week. It's a good starting point. But yeah, definitely there's a high IQ level in powerlifting sometimes. I think
there's the odd exception. Yeah,
yeah, it's one extreme or the other. It's
Hamish. Yeah. Awesome.
Oh.
Well, he's not here. We'll see if he listens to the episode and brings this up.
Yeah.
Paul, thank you so much for coming on. Any kind of shout outs before we wrap things up? Any kind of, plug sponsors or key players, friends, family, girlfriend?
No, just thank you for having me, and thanks to pretty much everyone that helps in powerlifting across New Zealand and volunteering for any competition or runs competitions or do anything like that, it's much appreciated. And like I said, we want to keep making it grow as much as we can, and we need as many people to help in order to do that.
Nice.
Thank you for having me, guys.
I said I was going to do a plug too. So do you train with Hamish Smith?
Yeah, I do.
He's my my younger son's year 7 teacher.
Oh yes, he did say the other day actually.
Yeah, Sport World Day, and I said I'd give old Hamish a bit of a plug. Thank you, Hamish. You got no pressure, mate. But
you're giving shout outs now, Greg.
I'm giving shout outs to my son's teacher.
You start charging for that. $5 a mention.
No, that's worth a few positive points on the grade, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Did you do your homework? No. Oh, you're gonna.
Don't worry. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I was at the gym. Oh, okay, that's fine.
That's all right then. Yeah. I was. I've got to catch up with Hamish too. We've got parent-teacher interviews coming up. So my wife said to me, "Make sure you talk about our son. Make sure you talk about our son." I'm sure he'll come up in the conversation eventually. But
I'm sure they'll start with his name.
Yeah. Awesome, Paul. Well, all the best for the future, mate, and all the best in the new role. And all the best for the comps coming up too. It's been a pleasure having you on, mate. Thank you very much.
Cool. Thank you, guys, and good luck with the podcast. It's real good. I've enjoyed listening to it and been on it. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks for your time.